Welcome to the channel, everybody. In today's video we're going to be looking at Callaway's release of the Paradigm drivers. I've got in my hand their standard model, their X-range model and the triple diamond model. We're going to go through the numbers on what these drivers are offering us, but we're also going to be talking about how they look and then what Callaway are saying about the tech that's gone into each of those heads. And then I'm going to give you a bit of an idea on who I think these drivers are going to be designed for. So what does Paradigm actually mean? Well, we've kind of Googled it because I'm really unsure of what the meaning of the word actually means. And if you look at Google's idea of it, the wording, the spelling of it is slightly different, but it's telling us that possibly that it's like the society's ideal scenario, ideal driver, ideal car. Well, Callaway possibly saying that then maybe they've made the ideal driver for everybody. Well, maybe they have in these three models. But I want to start with the looks of the driver. And in all three models, like you would see across, well, most manufacturers out there, you're going to see a slight shift in the way in which the driver looks, moving from, let's say, the standard model into maybe the high draw model and then the low spin bombing model, which is what we have with these Paradigm drivers. And the first thing you notice when you look down at all three drivers is the front rail. It's the front rail that I see, which I've seen in a number of different manufacturers out there on the market. Cobra have released drivers very similar to this. TaylorMade have released drivers very, very similar to this. But you're also getting that navy blue kind of carbon look on top, moving from that grey kind of rail that runs around the front of the driver, moving into that sort of carbony look, which we've seen so many times from not just Callaway, but lots of the companies out there. And then on the back, you've got like what looks like another kind of add-on part from the front bit that then attaches to the back, kind of like a smaller version, which then brings in the weight. That is on both the standard model and the X model. And then you've also got that chevron on the front here, which I will go into a little bit later as we go on, because I've got something to say on that. Because on the triple diamond version, you don't have that chevron. There's no line me up kind of sat down for this. And maybe they're saying that players that are going to be using this driver won't need that line me up. They should be able to find the middle themselves. And the standard and the X range, they kind of look very, very similar when you look down. And what you're getting in the X range is maybe just a little bit more of an elongated back on it, maybe pushing that weight a little bit further back, probably going to see higher launches, higher MOI, getting that ball up in the air with a lot more forgiveness in that particular head. But all in all, I think it's actually quite a nice look that Callaway have produced for this particular range. Actually slightly different than what we're probably seeing in generations gone by, certainly a change in the colours of them. But that's each to your own on that, whether you like that kind of navy look. For me personally, I think it's a really nice look down on the ball and frames up the golf ball really quite nicely. The next bit I want to talk about is the feel off the face, the sound off the face of the driver. And if I go back a few generations to, let's say, the original Epic, I loved the feel and the sound off of that club. It was like a thud off the face, and really probably getting feedback from tour players on that. Well, this one sounds and feels very similar. Whereas when I look down at the triple diamond driver now, the chevron is gone. Nowhere on the head to be seen. The looks of the triple diamond, a little bit more kind of pear-shaped, kind of a little bit squatter in its look, certainly a little bit more rounded than what I'm seeing out of the other two drivers. But feel-wise, exactly the same. And I think that's really, really positive to have a release of all three models having the same acoustics, the same feel off the face. I think is actually quite an important part of any design. But going back to that chevron, like I said before, I felt like it was just kind of stuck on there. But why would they now take it off the triple diamond model? I may be wrong here in thinking that maybe they've actually looked at it and gone, not sure that really works for me, not sure that's going to work for maybe better players or people that want to hit the ball a little bit harder. Therefore, the people that are going to be hitting this driver don't necessarily need a line me up. I don't know, but it's certainly not on this driver, which I think is a positive thing. Another thing Callaway have done with this driver is an industry first. We're always looking to try and get as much tech out of these drivers as we can. Well, they're saying now that they've created a 360-degree carbon chassis. And when you look at it, I mean, it's kind of got this I almost like looked at it as kind of almost like blue camouflage when I looked at the bottom of this driver, and in different lights it kind of stands out at you, but it does look quite nice. And to be honest with you, if I was looking at that on the shelf, it would attract my eye to this driver. And the idea of that new carbon chassis is to obviously try and save as much weight as they possibly can, allowing the company to be able to put the weight in different positions around the head, all aiding kind of extra speed, also aiding probably a little bit more forgiveness where they want to find it with different strikes. If you go back a few generations ago, you'll know that Callaway had this new AI computer, and the idea of that was that that created this new face that they had, allowing us to maintain good ball speeds across the face. Well, that new computer has now created another face, another titanium AI face. The idea of this is again to maintain great ball speed across the face for those off-centered strikes, making it easier to get the best out of this driver. And we talk about ball speed, we talk about power, and you may remember back again, they had the jailbreak technology with Callaway. Well, they've got it again, and they've created it through artificial intelligence, this time again, trying to maximize ball speed with those strikes. I think the idea of it was to save with crumpling effects, so keep that face a little bit more rigid as you impacted that ball with those big hits that you're going to put on it. Well, we've got it in this, and we've got it even better again, almost like more refined this time, to give us again maximum ball speed. So who are these drivers actually designed for? Well, if we take the standard head, that's the most versatile. This is the one that's going to fit into most people's golf bags. And if we look at the actual bottom of the head, we've got the rail on the back, which enables fitters or you, the golfer, to be able to put it into different positions. You've got the neutral position, you've got fade, and you've got draw. This is all tech that we've seen in many clubs over the years. If we go into the X range, this one is designed to get the ball in the air, higher launch type shots, but it's also got a little bit of draw bias. So if you're somebody that tends to move the ball from left to right, if you're a right-handed golfer, so a fader or a slicer of the ball, then this driver is going to hopefully help you square that club face up a little bit more and maximize your ball speed, but also designed for people that just want to hit it a little bit higher, and also people that maybe want to get a bit more of a draw on their shots. This driver is going to really help your game. And then you've got the bomber, you've got the old Sub-Zero type player, the player that wants to push that weight closer to the face, maximize ball speed off the club face, lower that spin, and really get that ball popping out there. So for players that generally swing the club probably quite hard, that's the player that's going to fit into this club. But let's see if these numbers back up what Callaway are saying about their three new drivers. If we start off with the standard, I've pushed this loft right down as far as it will go down to the 9.5 degrees of loft. If we look at ball speed, an average ball speed of 149 mile an hour off the face, launching it at 13.6 with a spin of 2,300 revs, which I think is pretty much spot on for that particular driver. Peaking out 34 yards high with an average carry of 253. So one thing I would say from today is that it is quite cold. We've had snow here. I'm not swinging it possibly as quick as I would like to be swinging it, probably 2 mile an hour down, which means my ball speed is possibly going to be fractionally down and my average carry is going to be fractionally down. But if we compare that to what we're getting out of the X driver, so this is the one for those players that tend to lose the ball from maybe from a bit of a slicer, we're getting 149 ball speed, so pretty much the same as what I'm getting out of the standard model. I'm launching this at 14.5. Remember, this is lofted at the same, so it's at 9.5, pushed it as far, as low as I possibly can. So it is launching slightly higher, which is what it says it should do, and then spinning it at 2,500 revs on an average, peaking out 37 yards high and an average carry of 246 yards. So it is spinning a little bit more and it is flighting out there just a little bit higher. If we then look at the triple diamond, so for the triple diamond I've gone into a 9-degree head and I've kept it as close as I possibly can to what I'm getting out of the other two heads. If we look at the ball speed, 148.8, so pretty much the same as what I'm getting out of the other two heads. Launch though, 15.7, so actually I'm getting just a fraction more launch out of the triple diamond than I am the other two models. If we look at spin though, 1,556 on an average rev. So it really, really drops off. Almost, well, it's basically 1,000 revs less than what I'm getting out of the X model, peaking out at 33 yards high, but my average carry with this driver is at 264 yards. So by launching it a bit higher, reducing that spin and keeping the flight up there, it's just carrying so much further, and that's the idea of going through a fitting, and that's the really important part. If you're looking at any driver, make sure you get a fit for it. So to conclude this video, have Callaway nailed it with the Paradigm driver? I think they've moved technology on. They're always going to move technology on. Am I seeing, let's say, lots more ball speed out of this club from previous models? Not really. However, they have made a product that is ticking the box for pretty much every golfer out there, and that has to be a positive from the Paradigm release. But I'd like to hear what you think. Will you be going out and testing the new Callaway driver? Is this something that you're going to be adding to your bag? I'd like to hear down in the comments. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you on the next video.